More of a whodunit than a whodunit, The Secret History is easily one of the most interesting books I've ever read. But before I can just start rambling on about the story, I should probably explain the book a little bit, huh? So, the author is Donna Tartt. It was published in 1992, I'm pretty sure. Mystery drama type of book. You probably know Donna Tartt from The Goldfinch, which was really popular and got turned into a movie recently. So, yeah, it's her first book, but that doesn't mean that it's bad or anything. So before I really get into this video, I should do a little disclaimer. This book has some trigger warning kind of stuff in it, and before I mention something that's triggering, that could be triggering, I'll put a little disclaimer into a timestamp where you can skip to where I'm not talking about that thing anymore. So the story takes place in this upstate northern fancy rich kid private school, all fancy and stuff. And the main character and, all those characters, they're classic majors, which is like the study of, like mythology and Greek and Latin and prose and whatever, all of that kind of jazz. So if you take Latin or you take Greek or whatever, you like that kind of stuff, there are some quotes. There's some funny stuff, some really, you'll be like, oh hey, I know what that says, or you might not, and you might learn a new phrase in cool dead languages. It's like a detective murder mystery kind of book. And it's also very dark academia aesthetic. Oh my gosh, I can't say that. I should look that up, but I'm not going to. So it's that kind of aesthetic, so if you vibe with that, you might like this. It's 500-ish, probably a little bit longer pages, and it's split up into a few sections. Also, Donna Tartt writes in kind of an older style, so that made it really hard for me to digest at first, but over time I started to grow to like it, and it's really good. And after I finished reading it, I was like, whoa. I had a whole I was haunted by it for a few days. It was whoa, still in my brain. And that's when you know it's a good book, when it's you're like, whoa, that was crazy. So, let's just jump into my rambling mess of me trying to explain the story of The Secret History. Alright, so a few weeks ago, I was talking to one of my friends on Discord, and it was like a late night rambling thing that I do sometimes, and I just brought up that one of our characters, I think, or one of their characters reminded me of someone, and it was someone from The Secret History. And that led me on a whole rambling spiel on explaining the whole story in 20 minutes, so I'm gonna do the same thing here, but I'm drawing the characters too. So, first off, we've got my boy Henry. They're all crazy, but Henry's hides his crazy pretty well. Especially with the way the book's written. At first I was like, okay, this dude's kind of cool. He gives good vibes. And then, when Charles starts to lose it, it's just a mess. But I should probably just explain what this book is about. It's about, this boy, Richard, this guy, they're, in college. So it's about this guy, Richard, who transfers all the way out to this school in Hampton College, I think. And, he's kind of the odd one out of the group of these kids, he's going there just to get away from his family in California, but then he sees these cool kids on campus who are always by themselves, these 5 people together, and he's like, who are these people? He asks about them a lot, and he finds out a lot about them, and, and then he eventually joins their gang and their classes, and, they are all, like, they all only have this one Greek teacher, Julian, King Julian. He's pretty cool. And eventually, they hang out, they start to become friends, and then they kill one of their friends. They kill one of their friends. Like, that's kind of like the whole punchline for the book, like the main thing. But stuff happens up to that, of course. So yeah, that's like the basic version. But now I'm gonna go into like explaining the story. So if you don't want to be spoiled anymore, I would probably suggest clicking off this video or going to this time that I put right here. Alright, so Richard, this boy Richard, he applies to go to this college, right? And then he meets he sees these cool people, and he wants to join their classes, and he wants to join, and he wants to be a part of, he just thinks they're really cool, and he wants to know what's up, and he's like, oh, hey, Julian, could I maybe take a class? And he's like, I don't know, Chief, you gotta, like, prove it, or I don't know, I only accept a few students. And that's it. Then one day in the library, he sees the twins, which are these two that I'm drawing right now, and Bunny and Francis all working together on some Greek stuff, and he helps them out. And then they're like, "Whoa, you know Greek? What?" And then I'm pretty sure after that, magically, or maybe he asks him again, and he's like, oh, sure, of course you can be a student, but you have to switch to only my classes. And he's like, welp, okay, let's sign me up, Chief. And so yeah, they start all taking classes together, and it's kind of weird at first, but eventually they start to become friends, and they go to Francis's cabins on the weekends and stuff. Oh, did I mention everyone's really rich? Everyone's really rich. Everyone's got money, except for Richard, which is funny because it's like rich. But so this one right here, Charles, drunky, probably an alcoholic, definitely an alcoholic. Everyone smoked and drank, but like he's got a problem, like a real problem. And then the sister, Camilla, yes, I know names. There's kind of, they're twins, but like they do be kind of doing some weird stuff sometimes. We'll get on to that. Okay. Alright, so, where was I? Right. So, they started going to the cabins on the weekends, and they started becoming, sort of friends. And I was like, wow, friendship is magic. But then, time passes by, and one night something happens. Five. Francis, Camilla, and Charles, and Bunny, and Henry all go out and decided to try to do a cult thing. A cult thing that they've been talking about in class. They talked about a class a while ago. And apparently they've been trying this for a long time. They've been trying to do stuff like this. But then one night, Bunny, this guy with the finger guns over here, he's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'll just keep entertaining Richard. Because, Richard just did not know that's why they were going out here all the time. And he was, just everything's cool. But then they end up, succeeding in performing this, Dionic ritual, and they all kind of go crazy, and none of them can really explain what happened. All they know is they killed a man. And when Richard is told about all of this by Henry, it's a long time later, a good amount later, and he's like, wow, okay, this is interesting. And so now he knows, and so now everyone knows. And Bunny knows, but Bunny, he wasn't there. So he's not not, as willing to keep the secret as everyone else is, that they killed someone, because when they found the man murdered, he was, like, bad, messed up, and they couldn't really, no one ever thought it was them, they didn't investigate, it was whatever. It's not whatever, but, but basically, Henry explains to, like, Richard that, he explains, like, Bunny's, like, sort of on the fence about this. He keeps on saying, like, I'm going to go tell everybody if y'all mess up, and so they, Bunny starts to become a nuisance and everything, and Henry and Bunny go on vacation, and then that's when Bunny throws, like, tantrums, and he's like, I want this, I want that, and things start to get obvious to him, like, they killed this man, this is not looking good, and I'm, like, doing all this stuff that's, like, threatening them, this is not good, I might get hurt. So, he writes a little thing. It's not clear when he writes it, but he does write it on the paper of the hotel, and, like, the hotel that they stayed at in Italy for, like, a summer vacation one time. Or no, it was winter vacation, I think. Right, because it would have been different holidays, or, like, times, seasons, seasons, I can speak there, right, so they get back, and, Henry's like, guys, I think we've got to kill Bunny. And everyone's like, what? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna kill Bunny. And so everyone's totally cool with it, I guess. I don't know. So Bunny's going on his normal hike. He's like, doo-doo-doo, hike time. And then he sees everyone up there just chilling, which they were waiting for him to come up there so he could push him off and make it look easy, but that didn't work well. But they still pushed him off. I believe it was Henry who pushed him off. So he gets pushed off the cliff, and then they go down to check to make sure he's dead. He's dead. And then they go about living their lives for a few days, and Julian's like, where's Bunny? And they're like, oh, we don't know. Eventually, they finally go check his room, and then the police is finally called. It takes, like, way too long. It's very sus. And then they all have to get questioned and stuff, and it goes on for a while. But eventually, they're they're not charged for it. They're not convicted. Because, they can't link them to anything, and so they all get off good. So then they go to Bunny's funeral, and Henry's a pallbearer, and it's kind of awkward and everything. But, Francis, or, like, Charles is, like, being crazy. And Francis is, like, trying to make sure he's not, like, drinking like a crazy person. But then everything sort of, like, kind of goes to normal-ish, whatever, as normal as it could be there. It's crazy there. There's, like, a cracked in at some point. That's not really relevant, but it's there. It's there. It's fun details. But eventually what happens is Charles and Camilla, the twins who live together in, like, an apartment thing, Camilla is, like, taken out by Henry and placed into a hotel, and so everyone's like, what the heck just happened? And then Henry talks to Francis, and eventually he's like, what, you didn't know they were sleeping together? And then you're like, what, there's incest? What is this? So that's a thing. Also, Francis tries to make a move on Richard, and that was spicy. But, and also, Francis and Charles sleep together sometimes. But, it's all just fun, romantic, rom-com stuff, right? So then, it goes on for a bit, like, they can't really reach Camilla, she's not attending classes, she's just like, or no, she is, but she's, like, going home to her, like, hotel afterwards, and then Richard, like, tries to talk to Henry, but Henry's like, the clock only strikes 3 when it's time to eat, he's, like, very not helpful, planting flowers, whatever, being, good old Henry, which is just, at this point, after Charles goes on like a rant. He's like, if Henry didn't do any of this, we'd all be fine, and it's all Henry's fault, and blah blah blah. And like after that really made me realize how like kind of crazy Henry is. Even if he's like the mastermind, he's still very messed up. So then I think they go to Charles's house. They go like his apartment at one point. They're trying to no, I remember. Got it. Oh my gosh, my memory. I did mention I was doing this from memory, right? Okay, right. So Francis and Henry go to good old teacher Julian to have a talk, and Julian's like, yo, look, I found this letter in my mailbox that I never go check because, why would I check my mailbox? And it's a letter from, you guessed it, your boy Bunny. And they're like, oh no. And Mr. Julian, King Julian's like, this can't be real. Bunny would never say these things about you guys. And so that's when they look at the letter, and the letter's basically like, yo, Julian, I think they're gonna kill me. I know they murdered this guy. You've gotta help me. And there's just this one little important detail that makes it so that Francis and Henry know, that Francis and Richard know that this is real, and it's the hotel. It's the hotel's paper. Like, imagine like a little like notebook thing that you get from like a hotel, and but it's like a paper or something. So then they're like, Julian's like, let's go to lunch, Julian, and then, it's very sus, and then Richard goes to Henry, and he's like, yo, we've got to get this from, or he goes to Henry, but, like, Henry's talking to Julian, and he makes it obvious to both of them that we want that letter, it's real. And so what happens is Julian's like, oh, shoot, I'ma head out. And so Julian and their teacher just, like, leaves. And so they get this, like, random whatever Greek teacher. And it's kind of weird. Because it's, like, almost the end of the year and, exams. And not very good. But, what happens is that... Wait, now... Okay, I'll probably edit this. But now, I'm pretty sure they were... Charles and Camilla were still not living together anymore when that happened. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I might go back and fact check myself later, but not right now. But TLDR, there's like this big thing where Francis and Richard go to find Charles, but they don't know where he is, and then they find him, and he's like drunk and a mess, and they think he might like spill the beans to someone just to like get Henry in trouble. But eventually they go to I think one day, Richard and Francis go to find Charles, and he's in the hotel where Camilla is, and there's Henry there with her. So they've been sleeping together because they love each other, actually. So that's tea. And then Charles is like, yo, I got a gun. I will shoot you. Yeah, like he just pulls out a gun out of nowhere, I think. I don't know. But there's a gun, right? Gun. So then he's like, yo, I will shoot you. Do not be messing with my sister, because that makes sense. Then like, Henry reaches for him, and so does Francis. He, like, throws a glass or something, and then he shoots the gun, and who gets shot? Our good boy Richard. So Richard's like, I got shot, and everyone else is just, like, doing their own thing, and he's like, yo, I got shot, and they're like, oh, well, whatever. But, you know, then the couple who owns, like, this nice fancy, like, little B&B, whatever, they're like, hello, what's happening? And, Henry's like, oh, this is not gonna look good no matter what. So what he does is he takes the gun from Charles, he points it to his own head, and before, of course, he kisses Camilla, and he's like, I love you, and she's like, I love you, and then he's like, pow, and he shoots himself, so that it looks like a murder-suicide. And then that's when the couple comes in, and it's like, whoa, okay. So that's where things, like, kind of end, really. After that, you know, we do, like, a time skip, and everyone who is alive after that mess separates, really. Charles and Camilla are, like, in different states, and Francis is up north, and then Richard moves back home after finishing. If he does finish, he might have not finished college there. Attempted suicide. I'll put a trigger warning before I said that, but Francis attempted suicide, and he sends out a letter to everyone, and Camilla and Richard come up to see him in the hospital. And they all, you know, I think this is after, you know, he's feeling a bit, or he's like okay to go places, because they go places and hang out for a few days, and Richard's like, this is great, it's like old times. And then on the train, I think it was the train, on like the train tracks, he's like, Camilla, will you marry me? And she's like, duh, this is awkward, this is weird. And she's like, I don't love you. Basically, she's like, I don't love you, I love Henry. And then Richard's like, I love Henry too. And she's like, yeah, but you're not Henry, dude. Why would you say that? It was very, very awkward, but like kind of bittersweet, whatever. Because like she was like playing with Richard the whole time. And it was kind of sad. But then, you know, the book ends with like Richard being like, and my life's kind of a mess now, but like that was a cool story that happened to me. And I had this, and then the book ends with like a dream where he's in a dream. Richard's like in his dreams. How many times can I say dream? I don't know. Well, he's just chilling, and then he sees Henry, and Henry's like, yo, and he's like, Henry, are you alive? And he's like, you know, I just gotta sort this passport stuff out. It's taking me a lot longer than I thought. I still gotta stay hidden. And he's like, whoa, cool, dude. And then he's like, I'll see you again some other time, maybe. I mean, we all go to the same place or whatever. And he's like, whoa, Henry's so cool, but he's going, what? Also, when Henry was, like, before, because he, like, was put in the hospital, right, before he, died, like, it took him a really long, they were, like, for, like, the shot to his head, they were, like, he survived a long time, you know, in the hospital, so, it's like, is he alive, is he dead? They're all gonna meet at the same, they're all maybe will meet again sometime at some place later after they all die, so. But yeah, that's how the book ends. It's really crazy, but I liked it. I thought it was a good read, but I'm not very good at, like, saying I don't like books or I like books, because I'm pretty much like every book I read, because, you know, reading's fun for me. But yeah, I'd give this book, 4 marshmallows out of a s'more, and I don't even like s'mores, so I don't even know what that says. I don't really like marshmallows either, but, yeah, that was long. I'll probably try to put this in an order that makes sense, but I hope you liked it. Okay, bye!
Fucking shame.